Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Michelle Fuller. I'm super happy you're joining me here. I know it's been a hot minute, but I've had this in the back of my mind to get back here and do part three of spiritual psychosis, magic and nuance. I have a list here of some points that I want to go over, and I'm just going to dive right in. But before I do that, please hit the like, please subscribe, please share, comment if you're called. I've been enjoying the interactions from some previous videos and just getting to know some of you, so please keep it coming. Um, okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is thoughts as dimensional space. Okay, and this is all within the context of spiritual psychosis, magic, and nuance. So, thoughts as dimensional space. So, the first way that I want to illustrate this is if we think about your dreams. Okay, so let's say you're having a dream that's like your basic subconscious psyche integration dream. Okay, and within that dream, there are people, there are environments, there are physical objects that are representing thoughts that you have. A lot of times, the people in your dreams, you're like, I've never even seen that person before, right? Like in this lifetime. They are simply a manifestation of some sort of thought. So, this all goes back to how thoughts become things. Okay. So, um, our thoughts are within this physical realm, okay? Our thoughts become things as well, but it takes a little bit longer, okay? Depending on the situation. Now, if I have a thought, I am going to make this video and I want to do it right now, well, I can come and I can sit down and here we are. Now it's a thing. I'm making this video, right? If I have a thought, I want to become a published author, well, that's going to take me a little bit of time. I'm going to have to bring in a lot of will. I had to bring in some will when I made this video as well, but it's going to take more will, consistent will, prolonged periods of will, solar plexus will to bring in that action piece and actually write the book, right? And then go through the publication aspects and all of that. So thoughts become things. Okay. So this is agreed, right? We see how this works. Okay. So when it comes to our thoughts existing in dimensional spaces, our dreams are a really good way to hook into this concept. Because let's say you are worrying about something, okay, and you have a dream with an entire landscape that appears to be physical, people, places, buildings, rooms, furniture, entire dialogues playing out, entire um, scenarios playing out that are developed and intricate, right? And this all comes from this thought that you're having, this worry that you're having. Okay, so this is how thoughts become things, and your dreams are a really good representation of that. So I want you to just hook into that and even just sit with that for a minute. Okay, so it's the same for your thoughts becoming things that don't necessarily show up in your dreams. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of for myself that just happened. It was last night. So typically when I am fading off, into sleep. And my consciousness is going to be leaving this physical vessel and going on all kinds of adventures and excursions, usually determined by whatever my intention is when I fall asleep, because I state my intention. I state what I want to experience, because you are that powerful and you can actually declare what it is you would like to experience. Um, Last night when I was falling asleep, I saw a woman just in my visual, eyes closed. I saw a woman and she was laying on her back and she was wearing full on Batwoman getup. Okay, except it was like actually a skirt. It wasn't pants. It was like this long leather skirt. And but she had like the headgear and the ears and all this, but she was laying on her back. Okay. And that was super interesting to me. I put a pin in that to sort of dive into because I know that that was actually one of my thought forms that had become a thing, this woman inside of dimensional space. Okay. My thoughts, your thoughts exist in dimensional space and they create dimensional space. They are the dimensional space. Okay. So that's an example of how our thoughts become things in ways that we don't necessarily like have awareness for the way we would in this physical realm. Okay. So on this journey, as our consciousness is expanding, okay, as our awareness is expanding, as we are interacting with and having awareness for more energy, like more expansive energy, and also even like new types of energy within us and external to us, okay? And this may even be, for example, dormant abilities within us coming online, things like that, okay? But just, just the very act of this awakening path and your consciousness expanding and your awareness is growing and you're having just so much more awareness for magic, for energy, for things interacting with you, for your power, okay, for what you're bringing, okay? As that happens, the experiences themselves, because of the expansive nature of this magic interacting with us, can sometimes create feedback loops that are uncomfortable, or there's just a lot of tension in them because your thoughts become things. So let me give an example here. So say in the past, you had a subconscious belief that you have to take care of everybody. Okay, that it's your responsibility to take care of everyone. We might call it like people pleaser syndrome or some sort of codependency, some sort of fawn trauma response. Okay. And so you're not awakened. Okay. You're unconscious. Okay. You're just in this physical realm. Your awareness is just for the material and the day of the week, and you have to go to work tomorrow. And what are you going to have for dinner and all that? Okay. You're experiencing all of your relationships, though, inside of tension. So, um, perhaps this person is angry a lot, or feeling unseen, or feeling unheard. Maybe it can even expand into their own narcissistic scripts where they are raging behind closed doors. There's this martyrdom. There's this victim villain, two sides of the same coin dynamic that they keep interacting in. But there's no awareness for this. Okay, so this is how thoughts might become things, the beliefs about themselves that were created earlier in life, usually inside of childhood, right? Created this mental holography. And so these thoughts are literally becoming their experience of all of their relationships, their reality. But there's not necessarily awareness for this. There's unconsciousness, right? And so then maybe this is going to lead to um, some other sort of maladaptive presentation or manifestation over time, even. It might be, now this person is 45 years old and now this turns into alcoholism or something like that. Okay, so I'm just trying to throw out examples, but how our thoughts become things, how our beliefs about ourselves, how we see ourselves become things as well. But for the sake of this video, I'm focusing on how our thoughts become things. So as our consciousness expands and our awareness expands, those types of patterns, those types of cycles that are created by our thoughts, our interpretations of ourselves, the world, others, all of that is going to be more expansive in its feedback loop as well. So now it might be playing out inside of energy that is magical. Whereas before it's like, oh, it's playing out inside of, your typical people relationships, right? Well, now it might start playing out in the form of different synchronicities, or um, like really obviously overt feedback loops that take place inside of your interactions with other people or anything in this realm, that it's like there's this magical quality to it, and you're just like, whoa, what is going on? And it might not feel good. It might feel nefarious, or evoke fear in you. Okay. And this is because your expansiveness, your consciousness, your awareness is now creating this thoughts become things in new ways, in more magical ways that reflects back your awareness, your consciousness, your increased being of and doing of and pulling in of the magic that was always available to you. It's not new. It's not like any of this is new. It's just your consciousness is expanding. And so therefore, it's going to be reflected outward, sort of like a mirror. Okay. We also might see this in terms of dormant abilities coming back online. Okay, so let's say your dormant abilities are coming back online. Let's say you are strong in clairaudience and you get songs a lot. You hear songs coming in a lot with, lyrics that contain messages that, your source stream, you are sending you. Okay. And that's all awesome. That's really cool. That's really good. That's fun, right? But then your abilities are coming back online more and more, and you start actually having the ability to hear, entire sentences, um, what people might call downloads, for example. And sometimes that might be more claircognizance, but let's go with clairaudience for the sake of this example. Claircognizance meaning just a clear knowing when a download comes in. But I'm speaking more to like a clairaudient version of that, where you're actually hearing words come in and you can tease out the words and you're maybe even writing down the words. Okay. So let's say you have beliefs about yourself that are very disempowered. Let's say you have not integrated mother wound or father wound, psyche fragmentation, okay, inner child energies, things like that. And you're getting this information and you automatically make this assumption that you're getting this information from some being that is better than you, that is higher frequency than you, that is more powerful than you, that is wiser than you, that is whatever, kinder than you, that is just better than you in general, because you have this mother wound or father wound energetic thought, belief about yourself in your lower mind, in your mental holography. Okay. Well, if this is the case, then it might come to pass. And again, these are just examples, okay, where all of a sudden you start to feel that this information that you're getting is not coming from a beneficial energy, is not coming from an energy that has your best interests in mind. Things start to get funky, things start to get scary, shit starts heating up. This could look like so many things, so I'm just being really, really general here, okay? So this is all a feedback loop with those lower mind beliefs about yourself, programs running, that mental holography that before you were awakened might have just played out inside of your typical everyday relationships, maybe with your coworkers, maybe with your sister or your father or whatever, okay? But now it's playing out inside of this magical, more expansive, energetic. Okay. And it's going to likely feel scary to you because this is new territory. You don't understand what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So it's very meaningful to understand how our thoughts become things. And on this awakening path where our consciousness is expanding, we're going to be experiencing feedback loops of that, of our patterns, of our cycles, of our beliefs, etc., in more expansive ways, in more magical ways. And that is okay. And this, what comes to mind is the phrase, the obstacle becomes the path, right? Because this is where these spaces are going to be showing up, just like totally mundane physical aspects of mirrored back consciousness to you in the past showed up. they're going to be showing up for you to go within so that you can find fragmentation. You can find non-beneficial core beliefs. You can find what is not you and you can integrate it. You can love it, you can integrate it, and you can alchemize it into the truth of you, which is typically going to have something to do with your empowerment and how you see yourself, because your soul wants nothing more. You want nothing more than to be your empowered self here and to remember your power and to remember who you are and to remember how beautiful and amazing you are and to remember that you are a creator. Okay. And so this journey here, this journey of awakening, where we go from the mind to the heart, the labyrinth from the mind to the heart is going to bring us through, like I just said, the labyrinth, where there's all kinds of interesting um, um, feedback loops that will show up, and they're all reflecting your thoughts. They're all things that have been created by your thoughts. And you might not see an obvious correlation, like that example that I gave earlier of the Batwoman. Like, I don't know yet. Like what thought did I have that created the Batwoman in the skirt? I mean, I can make some assumptions, but I don't know for certain. But I do know that she was a thought form. Um, and and honestly, her energy, I didn't totally dig her energy. So I know that it actually has something to do with some sort of a fear, actually. And so I'm going to be working on that later and see what's going on with that. And it's been a while since I perceived a thought form when I have been either intending to go into an out of body experience or intending to receive information in some way. Um, that I have experienced a thought form that gave me the skeeby-jeebies. Okay, so I'm like, cool, the obstacle becomes the path. This is highlighting some sort of fear that I have because of the way that it made me feel. I felt fear. I kind of like pulled away from it. So this is showing me something that I can work with within my psyche so that I can pull in more of my power. Okay. So that's the first thing that I wanted to explain. Okay, checking my notes here. Okay, so your interpretations are everything. So there is that quote, and I'm going to just pull it up because I don't want to botch it, although it's a simple one. The mystic swims in the same waters that the psychotic drowns in, Joseph Campbell, right? Okay, the mystic swims in the same waters that the psychotic drowns in. So note that the waters are the same either way. They're the same waters, right? The same waters. I'm trying to get my other notes thing back up here. Okay. The same waters. Okay. Mystic or psychotic. Well, that's going to depend on interpretation. And it's going to depend on your interpretation of yourself. Whatever you interpret, that's going to be the window that you're going to sit down at, and things are going to roll out from that window. Neither of these are bad. We could judge it and say, well, mystic is going to be more beneficial than psychotic. But if the interpretation of, oh my God, I'm going crazy is necessary in some way to assist you, because you remember the obstacle becomes the path, assist you in some way in pulling in more of the truth of you, in doing the inner work and remembering more deeply who you are, then that, oh crap, I'm crazy, I'm psychotic, I'm losing my mind, is going to be beneficial, right? Oh, I'm a mystic is going to be bypassing something that perhaps you need to look at and you need to integrate and alchemize, right? So that said, just keep in mind that your interpretation is all. So if you are hearing this right now and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm definitely going to choose the interpretation, I am a mystic. And that's the window I'm going to sit down at. And then I'm going to have really, really great experiences. And it's not going to be overwhelming. There's not going to be that tension. It's not going to be scary, whatever. Well, that's awesome. But if, we have subconscious mind programs running, if we have beliefs about ourselves that it would benefit us to identify and integrate, okay, thoughts become things, and in whatever way possible that will ultimately benefit us in the long run, those aspects might still show up. Okay. Where now it's looking like, I sat down at the window of that interpretation that I'm a mystic, but suddenly I'm looking like I might be a little psychotic here. Okay. Um, and so just remembering that, if you choose the interpretation that the obstacle becomes the path no matter what, right? Like everything is working for you on some level, um, that it's all going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All right. And this brings me to um, the idea, and I want to pull up this quote here to bring the concept of the phrase Amor Fati into this, which is Latin for love of one's fate. And this is something that Aurelius talked about. Nietzsche, he may have been the original, I think, not sure. Comes from more of the Stoic philosophers. Train of thought. But love of one's fate is this idea that no matter what is happening for me, it is bringing me what I need and it is meaningful to me. Okay. Um, this was like maybe a week ago, I had this conversation with myself with my source stream. And it was one of those times where I didn't remember much, but I remembered what was said at the very end as I was coming back into my physical body. And it was simply fear and hope. Fear and hope. That's it. That's all I heard. Fear and hope. And I thought that was interesting because I'm not a major fan of the word hope. I just don't dig the connotations. To me, hope feels, and this is just for me. I'm not saying this has to be true for you, okay? This is just how I feel about it. For me, hope has a connotation of like giving my power away. Like I hope something happens. I hope, you know, I don't know, someone else or something else comes in to remedy the situation or save the day or something like that. And that's just not at all a reflection of who I be or my soul. I'm all about knowing because I know that I will bring my will in alignment with my discernment, my wisdom, and funnel that into right action. And from there, I am going to create whatever it is that I can bring to a situation. And so I prefer to use no as opposed to hope. Um, so it was interesting that fear and hope were coming in. And I was like, have an open mind, Michelle. And I started doing some research and I found that there is quite a bit of Muslim doctrine that teaches around this idea of fear and hope. And I could see that there were seeds of sort of a truth within it, but I found it to be unbalanced because the whole energy was once again giving power away, where the fear was more around like fearing some sort of wrath or punishment um, if you are not, in your humility or humble enough or something like that, which, in my opinion, is one of the biggest programs of this realm in every single way that functions to take us out of the remembrance of our creator power and who we are so that it can be harvested. Um, so wasn't really a fan of that, although like I say, there was truth in it. And I didn't study it that deeply. It was like quick skimming, so I might go back to it. And then there was also more sort of philosophical interpretation. So like different philosophers that have talked about fear and hope. And it all once again tied back to this idea that the obstacle is the path. And the the sort of underlying assumption is that some fear is useful because if there is some fear there, then that is going to be propelling us forward, moving us forward in some way. Um, but if it's by itself and there isn't also an element of hope, an equal measure of hope, then the fear might take us out, might spiral us down. But if we have some hope, then that is going to be the ingredient that is going to keep us propelling ourselves forward through the fear, through the obstacle to the next level on the path or whatever. So I can dig that. Um, Take it or leave it. If it's not meaningful to you, discard it. Um, I'm sharing this because I feel like it might be useful for some. Um, but ultimately, remembering that everything that is happening for you is, first of all, coming through you, and second of all, reflecting back to you what you need to see that will ultimately bring you into a more integrated, empowered, true version of yourself. Okay. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope that this was useful, and I am sending everyone a lot of love. Do not forget to subscribe and like and check out my website also. If you go to my website, there's some information about the online workshop that I'm currently offering, which is on fire. It is awesome. It's all about inner alchemy. It's all about using elements in inner alchemy. It's about mind integration. Check it out. There's a whole list of things on my website, and I would love to see you there. So, with that said, big love, and I hope everybody is having an amazing day. Bye.